Okay, hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to my channel. My name is Hope if you're new, and I'm super excited that you're joining me today. It is Monday morning, and while I typically do all of my planning for the week on Sundays, today I had to do it this morning, so I thought I'd bring you guys along with me. We're just gonna be planning out the week in my Hobonichi planner. This is the 2024 weeks planner, and it is actually my first year using it, so I've been kind of experimenting with different ways to use the weekly layouts. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So the first thing I do is kind of go back and reference my January page. This is just kind of looking at my month at a glance, and I find it to be a really easy way for me to just get a good idea of what I've got going on. And then it also just lets me know what I need to add to my calendar for the week. Doing it this way has worked really well for me. And then I also like to just go in and at the beginning of every planning session, I'll go through the goals I set for myself last week and kind of mark off if I've completed them or not, as well as set the new goals for this week. So the first goal of walking 24 miles, I did complete. That's going to be another goal that I think I just bring down to here because I am trying to do it every single week. And then my second goal was a no spend week until Sunday, and then only spending about $10 to $20, which I did also complete. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that off. And I really like those two goals. I felt like they were really achievable for me. I think 24 miles is a good target. And then if I go a little bit under it, I think it's still a good kind of pace for me to go. So I'm going to go ahead and just move that down here as another goal for this week. And then I'm also going to be trying to do the no spend until Sunday. To indicate whether or not I completed a goal, I just put a little X or a check by it. So week 1, I didn't hit those, but I did hit these for week 2, if that makes sense. And once I kind of take count of everything I've got going on this week, I can start planning my weekly calendar. I use this little divider that has today at the top, and then it also has a ruler on the back. And I'll use that just to kind of keep my place in the planner. So whatever week I'm on, I'll just kind of stick it on the right-hand side here. And then there's a couple of things that I like to do when I'm starting a new weekly plan. The first thing is definitely going to be to draw a line on this first dot here. I like to just separate it. That way I can put events on one side and then to-do list tasks on the other. In this planner, you actually have dots that you can follow. So I just kind of draw a line there, and then sometimes I'll do a double line like you can kind of see through on the other page. And the reason I do that is so I can put my little check boxes for when I complete something within like its own section. I just like the way it looks. And then over here, I'm going to want to do some sort of to-do list planner where I can basically just keep account of everything I have to do this week. Typically what I'll do is I'll write to-do list or something like that at the top, and then I kind of separate it based off of what the category is. So maybe I'll do my work category up at the top, and then if I have any personal tasks, I'll kind of go by these dividers and write them a little bit lower. At the bottom, I typically put a section for things that I have to do later on, but I think we're just going to start here and do the general outline first. And then we can also talk about what I'm going to add into this little column right here. I do really like this divider though, because it's really easy to follow and just kind of line everything up and get a straight line out of it. I did have a mini ruler I was using for a while, but I found that it would leave some gaps, and so this has just worked a little bit better for me. And then to get the second line, I've just been kind of mirroring whatever was on the previous page I used. Since these pages are really thin, you can kind of see through them and figure out almost like a guideline, I would say. I also really like to grab one of these highlighters. I really like them just because they are really, really light. They're not overpowering or anything. And I'll usually just go through this line and just highlight it so it adds a little bit of just like a color difference. I just feel like it's a really subtle way to add a little bit of color into the journal spread. And I do like to just kind of plan out where things are going to go first before I start actually adding stuff in. So I'm going to hold off on adding in any of my events or tasks, of course. And I think we're just going to go ahead and start with the to-do list. I like to use this right-hand side to mark down my to-do list items and just things I need to get done by, or kind of anything in that category. I think last week I wrote down like to do this week, and I like the way that came out, so I might just do the same thing. There's my to do this week, and then what I'll typically do is underline it and then also go back in with this highlighter just right underneath, again just to add a little bit of color. Now when it comes down to actually writing in these items like that I need to get done this week, I'll usually just make a little square to just kind of mark off where I'm going to start it at. And then when we go back in later to actually fill in the to-do list column, I'll go ahead and just kind of mark those down. If I have a task that's a little bit bigger, I'll show you guys how I do it in a little bit, but I'll also indent another little box and do like mini tasks within the bigger one. But we'll get back to that in a little bit. The next thing I want to lay out is my column for things I want to get done the following week, or just if I have any events coming up. I feel like it's nice to be able to have a separate section that just has like a specific space for it. So I'll usually just write that down here and then also underlining it. That way there's a little bit of a division. Okay, that is the general outline, and now we can kind of get into the more specific things. So the next thing I want to write down are a few of my different time trackers. The first one I think is going to be study time. This just helps me keep track of how much schoolwork I'm getting done on a daily basis. And what I'll do is I'll write the days of the week or like the letters of the week on the side. Let me actually bring you guys in a bit closer. But like I was saying, what I'll do is I'll write down the first letter of every day of the week, and then I'll go ahead and do some sort of time scale at the bottom. So for study time, I'm going to start at 0 for the days I get nothing done, and then go up by increments of 2, just kind of like that. And then when I'm actually going in and filling it out, so like today's Monday and I've already got about 30 minutes in, I'll just kind of draw a line to the point where I have completed it to. And it just makes it really easy to keep track of how much time you're actually spending doing things. If you aren't in school and you want to track something else, you could do things like a sleep tracker to track how many hours of sleep you got at night. You could do a mood tracker where you're tracking how you're feeling that day on a scale of 1 to 10, but that's just the one I choose to do. And then I also like to put another one below it called focus time. And this is just generally going to be for doing any work throughout the day. And then I kind of just average it out in the same way we did the study time one, just in increments of 2. So those are the 2 time trackers I'm going to go with this week. Again, I do like to switch it up sometimes, so I'll do a sleep tracker or a mood tracker sometimes. But I feel like these are just really relevant to my life right now, so I've just been going with those. And then below this, something I've been tracking is my current read. I started using Goodreads a lot this year, and I've also been reading on my Kindle a bit more. And something I like about that is that it lets you see like the progress of your book. So one day I'll be at like 20%, the next day maybe I'll get to like 25, 30, and so on. So what I do is I write current read, and then I do a little dot so I can indicate what book I'm reading, and I'll just kind of fill that in at the beginning of the week. And then I usually give myself a few lines to write that in. So below it, I will then start writing in the days of the week again. And here's just where I'll write down the percentage that I'm at in the book. So some days it might stay the same, other days it might go up, and then I'll just kind of keep track of that so I can see how much I've been reading every day. If you do read on a Kindle, I feel like this is a fun way to do it if you don't want to track pages or anything like that. And the last thing I'm going to add in this bottom section here is a section to write down my top songs. Every week I'll write down what my top songs of the week were. I usually like to just go for 2 different songs. I'll just write down 2 little bullet points, that way I can add them in as the week goes on. But that's pretty much what this side of the page ends up looking like. Last week I did box this in, and I liked the way it added a bit more division, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do it again this week. Sometimes I'll use a ruler, but other times I just kind of freehand it and get the general idea. This is pretty much what it ends up looking like before I start adding in things like events and to-do lists and everything like that. Now we're going to go ahead and reference back to that original calendar I showed you guys and add in all of my events for the week. I think some things are changing, so I might leave some of them open just in case. But we have things like bowling night, art class, pickleball, and just other activities. So I'm going to go ahead and add those into this like left-hand column here. Whenever I'm writing in an event, I like to do like a little star to indicate that it is an event, and I'll just start planning that out like that. So Tuesday we have bowling night, Wednesday is art class, Friday we have pickleball, I think Sunday we also have pickleball, and then I'm just gonna leave the rest of the days open. And then later today I know I'm going grocery shopping and we're doing a bit of meal prep, so I'm just gonna add that in here as well. Grocery shopping, and then I'll write write down meal prep. If any of my events are connected to each other, I'll usually just go with the main event and then do an arrow just to make sure that I know that they're connected. So for example, if we're going bowling and then we're going to dinner after, I would write down a little arrow and then say that we're going to dinner. That type of thing. Same thing with art class. If I'm doing something before, I do the arrow up and then out towards the left to show that something is happening before that art class happens. Whenever I'm filling out my to-do list on this side right here, I like to just do little mini squares that I'll X off as I complete them. And I do like to do my work category at the top and then slowly work my way down to things like home and then personal and just kind of like miscellaneous at the bottom. So for work, I'm going to leave myself a big gap as the kind of things pile in throughout the week. And I'll go ahead and start my personal category down here. The first thing I need to do this week is update my finance trackers. I'm really trying to keep better track of it this year, so I am attempting to update them every single week, which is different from what I used to do, so I'm going to mark that as one of my personal to-dos. I also want to finish scrapbooking all of my photos. I printed out a bunch of them, but then I didn't end up having enough time to finish scrapbooking all of them, so I'm going to do that at some point this week. I also want to set some quarterly goals. I saw a video that explained quarterly goals really well, so I thought that that would be something I'd try out this week. And then I guess this is more of a work task, but I need to update my website. Some things got all messed up on it, so if you've been trying to access it and you haven't been able to, that would be why. So hopefully I'll have that back up and running this week. Oh, I also really want to set up my water filter tank. I got it a while ago, but I just haven't made time to finish setting it up, so I would love to get that done this week. And then for a lot of my work tasks, these are things that come up during the week, so I just, again, like to give myself enough space to add them in as needed. And then the bottom section here will be for any miscellaneous things that come up as well. Filling in some of the stuff going on throughout the week, I'll just go ahead and write them directly next to this column here, because again, I'm going to be putting all my check marks and stuff inside of here. So for example, today I really wanted to film this YouTube video, so I would write it at the top there and then place the check mark in once I finished it, and it ends up just looking a little something like that. Other things I'm going to add to my to-do list for today are meal prep, which I have on the other side there, but I'm going to add it as like a to-do as well. And then down here on Sunday, I'll add my Sunday resets as well as my finance trackers. I feel like that's probably a good day to do it. Also, if I have enough space, I will sometimes specify what it is I'm doing. So for this YouTube video, I wanted to film a plan with me, and writing it in sometimes just makes it easier for me to understand what exactly I need to get done, which is pretty helpful. That is pretty much it as far as all the writing goes, and now comes my favorite part, which is decorating it with some stickers. I really like to do color themes, so I think last week I did blue and the previous week was yellow or something, and then I also used a few of these for a brown week. I'm pretty sure all these stickers are from Daiso. If you guys have one near you, I would definitely check it out if you're interested in getting some stickers for your journal and stuff. I think that we're gonna go with this one this week. My favorite thing to do when journaling is finding stickers and just accent things like washi tape and stuff to make the page a little bit more creative and fun. And I do that just by finding colors and stickers that all kind of correlate with one another. So I just kind of flip through and see if I can find anything. I think we're just gonna pull most of them off of this sticker sheet since most of the colors are already the same. And then maybe we'll add some flowers. Okay, I think we've got our stickers, and now it's all about placements. There's a couple of places on the journal that I'll usually go and try to add stickers to. It's pretty much any corner and then wherever I have any natural dividers. So this is a big spot for me, down here, over here, and then sometimes up here or like along this line. I really like these flowers because they come in a natural corner shape, so it might be fun to do something like that. I think that these flowers here would probably go the best with this, or maybe this one. Actually, I think it's going to be this top one, so I'll grab one of these, and I'm thinking we're just going to line the corner with this one. Okay, there's one, and then over here I kind of want to add one, and then I really like these flowers, so I'm going to find a place for this cute one. I think that one's really cute, so this is probably going to go down here. Maybe we can place it on the side, something like that. And then I also want to add maybe this paint one, and we can layer that with a heart or something. I also really want to add this bird somewhere, so maybe we'll just put it in this corner. Those are the color stickers I'm going to go with, and then the last thing I'm going to add are some stickers to go with the events. I have this one sticker page that I got a while ago, and I just love it for this. They're just really small accent stickers, and I feel like they just go really well when describing any sort of events. For art class, I think I'm going to go with a little light bulb. Bowling night, we might do some of these stars. And then I don't really have anything I would add to any sport. So instead, by Sunday reset, I'm gonna go ahead and add a coffee. And I think that might do it. Here is what my weekly spread ended up looking like. I have a place for my events, a place for my to-do list items, and then different time trackers. I also have a spot to mark my current read and some of the songs I've been listening to. But I hope this gave you guys some inspiration as to things you can use in your planner. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to like and subscribe if you're new. I post new videos every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, so you can tune back in then for some new content. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.